Good evening from India. Welcome to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization World Food Forum flagship event 2023 on youth innovation, food security, and climate change. Organized by Earth Digital Book India in collaboration with DICE Consortium, Institute of Community Safety, United Kingdom, and iCare Sustainably Kenya, Africa. The theme of the flagship event 2023 is Agrifood Transformation Systems Accelerates Climate Action. I am Dr. Sanghamitra Ardho, Chairman of Earth Digital Book and Associate Professor in Geography, Kollani Mohavidyalaya, India. Welcome you all. A conference is a celebration of knowledge. I heartily welcome all the members of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization's flagship event 2023 team for guiding me to organize this side event. Earth Digital Book is a non-profit organization that works as a digital network for a better future. The international conference gives a forum for aspiring food technologies to exchange their knowledge and experience, particularly in the domain of agri-food systems and climate change. This event gains relevance in the light of growing attention experience, particularly in the domain of agri-food systems. And this is a national to international level effort which offers a platform for increased interaction among students, faculty, and professionals from the agri-food systems, crops, livestock, forestry, and climate activists around the world. I wish to extend my warm welcome to our eminent speakers from United Kingdom, Kenya, and I am feeling blessed to welcome 414 registered participants from 70 countries around the world. They are joining us in YouTube. Welcome you all. Now I am giving the microphone to my student Subhayan Debnath, who is also interested in agricultural entrepreneurship. He will introduce our first speaker, Mr. Subhayan.
Good evening, ma'am and sir, all present over here. Mr. Andre Moster. Andre is a lecturer in entrepreneurship and innovations. He has taught economics, accounting, and entrepreneurship for HE Access, undergraduate and MBA programs, University of Cape Town, University of East London. In recent years, he has specialized in enterprise education and entrepreneurship research, commercialization, knowledge exchange, etc. Andre has developed qualifications and learning resources, including a postgraduate diploma, suite in entrepreneurship, social enterprise, and a set of qualifications in international financial service management and Islamic finance and banking. More recently, Andre developed a social technology STEM about applied sociology for STEM careers, sports degree programs. Andre is an off-school expert in entrepreneurship and has published in the field of entrepreneurship education, human language technology, and African oral literature. He has also led and supported international research and development projects for a number of agencies, including Asia Invest, British Council, Commonwealth Service Secretariat, Danida, Erasmus Plus, FP7, H2020, Foundation of Human Rights, USAID, etc. Andre is a fellow of Advanced HE and of Institute of Community Safety. Andre has managed a number of international projects, social enterprise, digital skills, climate change, etc., and trained ECRs and research center managers to submit funding proposal for research funding. Andrew welcomes the change to work with business and industry partners. He is going to speak on youth entrepreneurship for climate resilient agri-food production. Now, sir, please.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you to Dr. Sangramitra. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that's great. So thank you for the introduction and for the opportunity to just do a really light touch on youth entrepreneurship within the climate resilient paradigm that we are exploring. As the introduction that was kindly read to us by one of Dr. Sangramitra's students, I am at the University of Kingston in the business school, and in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see some of the projects that we are working on. And we do, as was mentioned in the introduction, do welcome any partners who'd like to join us. We are quite proud of the fact that our students created the first futurology society at any university anywhere in the world. So we would be very keen to link with any other partners who'd like to follow through. But in terms of just focusing on the topic, we have got a small Jamboard there. There's a tiny URL up in the corner, which you can take down, and you can use the Jamboard to add comments or add your email address if you'd like us to follow up in terms of some of the projects we've done. We have recently submitted projects around green skills, female entrepreneurship, and a number of other areas. So please feel free to make use of the Jamboard. It is there for you, and it's anonymous unless you add your email addresses, and we will respect your email addresses and not use them for anything other than project development. So coming to the topic, obviously the framing of everything we've discussed and at the whole forum, as it were, is informed by the UN 2030 sustainability goals, which I'm sure everyone is fairly familiar with. And I'll just, for a moment, before we actually get further into the topic, just give a sense of how we engage with youth entrepreneurship here at the university in terms of the modules that I'm engaged with. We use something like the periodic trend table, which I've given a link down there as well, which gives a number of trends that are dominant across the planet. And what we do with our students, or with my students, is we extract some of the trends from the periodic table of trends and technologies, and we then link to trying to achieve, and this is part of our design thinking process, we try and look at the different sustainability goals, and then we link it to one of the possible trends. So in this case, and obviously talking about agriculture, and if we just quickly look at the three that I've selected as an example here, carbon pricing, we know we're going to see a sort of carbon pricing. We already see carbon offset opportunities and things like that, and a reduction in aquifers. I know many of our Indian colleagues will be familiar with the Coca-Cola wars around the aquifers, and many farmers finding it increasingly difficult to access water resources from the aquifers as these are being used for production of soft drinks, etc. But if we take the table soil erosion, so again, building a youth entrepreneurial ecosystem which allows young people to look at the challenges that are facing us, like climate change and these other factors associated with the UN 2030 goals, and then mapping them against the trends and to start coming up with some ideas. So here I've populated an example where we identify the trend, we look at two of the goals. For example, in this case, I chose climate action and zero hunger. So that's goal number 13 and goal number 2. And then try to conceptualize some entrepreneurial ideas or project ideas, for example, topsoil restoration services, soil erosion, ideas that could be developed. And then we also try and identify black swans, in other words, events which are very difficult to predict. And again, I've put a small URL there where you can get more information on what a black swan event is. It's basically something that would happen that is unpredictable for it. So it's creating that framework and that building that youth or building that entrepreneurial mindset, which is going to be key if we are going to address a number of our challenges associated with the likes of climate change and these factors. So using that as a framework of thinking as we move forward in terms of looking more specifically at some of the contexts within which we are presently operating. Now, obviously, we've just come through the COVID period and the impact that COVID had on the wider communities. And now my clicking device is not working. Sorry, something's happened. There we go. So obviously we saw an increase in hunger as associated with the COVID because that impacted production. We've got to look at how we develop sustainable approaches to addressing issues associated with food scarcity. We saw recently, obviously, the Ukrainian war situation, which impacted the production of grain from out of the Ukraine. And we've got to really start looking at how we can build opportunities for youth within the agricultural sector. And how we can look at the digital gap that is especially associated with female access to agricultural inputs and technologies. So the youth, and obviously the whole forum is focused on mobilizing them in a way, because they are the generation that are going to have to try and achieve and promote the achievement of those UN 2030 goals. And we know that a lot of those goals are extremely aspirational, but again, looking at the opportunities that are available as we go through this post-COVID phase, and we see the impact on how it has affected the global hunger, et cetera, et cetera. So within that context, we're aware of the pivotal role that agriculture plays in terms of food security. That goes without saying. I mean, for example, a research
recording in progress.
Okay, I just need to. A study done in 2009 in the UK indicated that the UK is nine meals, 3 days away from anarchy should the supply chain fall over for whatever reason. So, I mean, food security in any modern society is a critical factor that we need to, and the role that agriculture plays in our food security is very well known and fairly clear to all of us. So as I mentioned, the Russia-Ukraine war or conflict has obviously impacted the grain production. And if we take an area like the Middle East, up to 50% of the grain that was consumed in the Middle East used to come from the Ukraine. So obviously these impacts and the effects of these geopolitical situations is impacting quite significantly. And we've seen a surge, partly obviously related to the COVID, in the level of people facing food insecurity. And obviously when communities are facing food insecurity, it can result in a lot of instability and social unrest. We're seeing significant changes and impacts of climate change, diminishing resources, decreasing productivity of some of our land resources. For example, we're seeing more intense weather events. For example, presently the eastern part of Scotland is under a red weather warning for the first time, I think, in 9 years, due to flooding and the risk of excessive rainfall over the next 24 hours. And so we are seeing this increasing vulnerability, and we're seeing much more radical climate events. Even the language is changing. For example, very few people had ever heard of the concept of thunder snow. In other words, where you have a thunderstorm associated with a snowstorm. And historically, snowstorms haven't characteristically been accompanied by thunder. We hear about things like rain bombs or monsoon on steroids, as we saw in Pakistan in the last monsoon season, where a third of the country was flooded. So again, we're seeing increasing vulnerabilities associated. But as we turn now and we think in terms of the opportunities for youth within the agricultural sector, one of the problems we have encountered, or is becoming more prevalent, is the fact that many of the youth are no longer see agriculture and farming as a viable career. However, with the increasing technological developments and the opportunities that technology opens, for example, in the early part of this presentation, we saw for the idea of technologies for looking at how we prevent soil erosion, and maybe using drones to map areas and to increase with the increasing application of technology to within the farming environment. Hopefully this is going to start stimulating an interest from young people in terms of staying and continuing to engage with the farming. But as part of the preparation for this short input from myself, one of my colleagues interviewed a farmer that he's working with on an aquaponics program. If time allows, I will touch on the aquaponics. But in this conversation, it became fairly clear that while this farmer had actually given opportunities for 5 individuals, young people, to actually engage with farming, the interest levels were fairly low. And I think this points to one of our major challenges, is that we need to mobilize the young people and enhance it, or rekindle an interest in farming. When the conventional family-based farming approach is also starting to wane somewhat, and as part of that enthusiasm to continue the family legacy of farming and stuff is decreasing. And so part of the opportunities that are available for young people to build their interests in the agricultural sector and in agri-innovation and the application of technologies to increasing farm productivity and consequently enhancing food security, I think is quite significant. So obviously we're seeing increasing investments in farming, purely on the basis that people to feed. And so with this increased investment, you're likely to see an increase in opportunity. And as I say, with the scope associated with these new technologies, and as I say, drone opportunities and a better understanding of nanoscale and manipulation of genes, there's a whole plethora of opportunities that are now starting to evolve. And encouraging our young people, I think, is to see and to consider farming as an option is something that is, I think, an important responsibility for those of us who are involved in the education of young people. I mentioned aquaponics. Some of you may or may not be familiar with aquaponics, but aquaponics involves using having an environment where you breed fish, and the fish waste is used to fertilize the plants that are cultivated on the water that the fish are in. And this has an ability to generate extensive food output, and therefore to contribute to food security. So, and this is one of the areas that some of our colleagues are working on to develop and to find and create opportunities for young people to adopt and to support this type of solution. You see the example in the image there of vertical farming. The buildings of the future are going to be farming type of infrastructure, which would be a key in achieving sustainable communities and sustainable cities, which is goal number 11 for the UN 2030 goals. So again, there we can see by looking at the UN 2030 goals, we can establish that opportunities available to young people. So we've got to really start integrating our thinking in terms of building green skills. We have all these initiatives: net zero, sustainable food, greening the economy, etc., etc. And implicit in all these visions, aspirations, as it were, is an idea of green skills. And we're going to see more and more of the reference to green skills, and our young learners and our young people building their skills in greening and looking at the reuse, recycling, or reducing consumption, moving away perhaps from a meat-based diet, as was mentioned in the plenary. As we know, meat production makes a significant contribution to greenhouse gases. Natural soil enrichment, we used the example at the start of the presentation about topsoil erosion. Here again, we can see that there are numerous opportunities. I'm just aware of time. Looking at how we manage pests, biocontrols. I know when I was at university, some of my colleagues were engaged with biocontrols, using natural solutions to pest control, biopest control, which is a very interesting area to explore, because obviously it creates this integrated understanding of how we can work alongside natural processes to control pests and other opportunities. How are we going to manage our water in the plenary session? Again, it was mentioned the amount of water that is used simply to produce a kilogram of beef is quite shocking, actually. And if you look at our water use and our inefficient use of water, and in lots of areas now, as climate is changing, we're seeing water scarce or water stressed, and therefore we have to look at manners in which we can be much more efficient in the use of our food resources. So as we sort of come towards the end of this, I mean, looking at the role in the processing of food, how we can become engaged in innovation and contribute to reducing waste associated with the food supply chain, and really looking towards our youth to step up and to be engaged in the leadership of these changes that our supply systems are going to have to undergo. So effectively, we have to look at building. I mean, we've got the UN 30 goals. We really do have to look fairly closely at how do we build a climate resilient infrastructure. And in order to achieve a lot of those goals, it's implicit that we're going to have to innovate on a constant basis and fundamentally rethink how our agricultural processing manifests itself, so that it can become much more of an integrated, sustainable process, which is actually the requirement for the future of our. We've got some success stories, obviously. We've got these networks that are being developed and that are operating. And again, by engaging and by communicating and looking at how to innovate and how to reorganize and rethink our supply chains along the 3R type of ethos of reduce, recycle, use, and we have built our infrastructure on very much a throwaway type of approach. So looking at these successes, looking at these initiatives, and thinking in terms of how one can fit into those processes and share and be part of the solution, because fundamentally part of the solution going forward. So in closing, obviously, we're going to have to look at a lot of different areas, and it's a very complex ecosystem, but we have to change how we our eating habits, obviously, and that's been a key theme of the forum. And we've got to grapple with the fact that we've got high levels of youth unemployment. So how do we innovate and apply our design thinking in terms of identifying solutions and how to create sustainable agricultural processes and concomitantly a supply chain, a food supply chain that contributes to food security and stuff like that. So our youth have shown a strong desire to drive environmental change and environmental processes and innovation. And so to encourage them more engagement with the agricultural processes and the reorganization of the food supply chains. So through engaging the youth in terms of achieving the sustainable agricultural processes is something that we all really have to embrace so that we can forge towards a resilient and prosperous future and get closer to achieving the UN 2030 goals. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't go too fast there. There's my email address if you're interested in linking with us, and we're always open to engaging and finding ways that we can work together. So thank you very much, and thank you to Dr. Sanghamitra and her team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Andre Moster, sir. Now, I would like to introduce Dr. Sanghamitra Ardhu ma'am. Dr. Sanghamitra Ardhu ma'am is an associate professor in geography, Kalyani Mahavidyalaya, Kalyani, West Bengal, India. She has a background in geography at postgraduate and doctorate level from the Calcutta University with vast experience in environmental geography, cartography, climate change, and sustainable development. She is a recipient of 4 national scholarship, secondary of master level, university Grand Commission Fellowship, and the prestigious Shiksha Ratna Award 2021 for lifetime achievement in the field of education. Her job as the member of Global Ambassador of Sustainability leads to the dissemination of awareness about sustainability development in India. She is the chairman of Earth's Digital Book, a non-profit organization that promotes free education and service to society. She has more than 20 years of teaching experience in schools and colleges in India. Today, her topic is Education for a Better Food Future in India. Now, ma'am, please.
Thank you for your beautiful introduction. Now I am sharing my screen. I hope you can see my screen. Hello everyone. I am going to talk about education for a better food future in India.
Recording in progress.
I think you can see my screen.
Yes,
Hello everyone.
Hello, yes, we can see your screen.
Hello everyone. I'm going to talk about
Recording in progress.
today my topic is education for a better food future in India. The Indian agricultural sector has been a great success story for over past 60 years. As per economic survey, As per economic survey 2020-23, 65% of India's population lives in rural areas. Somebody is joining and leaving the meeting, and we are facing problems. Caroline, can you hear me? Hi, Caroline. Hi, Caroline, can you hear me?
Maasai people, which is one of the indigenous communities in Kenya. So the Maasai people have a profound connection with the nature and wildlife, considering themselves as protectors of these resources. They maintain tradition of coexisting harmoniously with nature by not hunting for food or selling animal products. Instead, they raise cattle for their daily needs, like when they need blood, they need meat, leather, and other household necessities. And you can see that there's a mutual respect between the Maasai and the animals, as they consciously treat animals well during their lives and express gratitude for what they receive from them. This also includes when they are slaughtering them. You can see some activities that show gratitude towards the animals. So this utilization of animals is crucial for the survival of the Maasai, who are a semi-nomadic people and do not engage in this other kind of farming. So what are the challenges and opportunities can we get in these indigenous communities? These communities grapple with a number of challenges. I've been able to identify about 3 of them, but I'm sure there are many. So one of the challenges that the indigenous communities grapple with is food insecurity. They experience high rates of food insecurity due to reduced access to traditional foods, resulting from environmental factors and geographic isolation, economic disparities, and cultural significance of traditional foods. We also find that some government policies also fail to favor these indigenous communities. Also, marketing of unhealthy processed foods, and which result to health consequences, which also further contribute to this problem. Now, to address food insecurity in indigenous communities, it is essential that we promote sustainable resource management, improve infrastructure, support local agriculture, and also respect cultural traditions, all while recognizing the right of these indigenous communities to determine their own food systems. These communities really value food sovereignty, and they want to ensure that they still maintain their own practices in terms of producing their food and what they believe is healthy for them. The other challenge that these communities face is land use issues. Indigenous communities face multifaceted land use challenges, including resource exploitation, loss of traditional territories, displacement, and legal disputes. Addressing these issues also involves recognizing their land rights, fostering meaningful consultation, and promoting sustainable land management, while also empowering indigenous communities for more equitable and sustainable future. An example of such a community that continues to face issues with land use, especially in Kenya, is the Turkana community. This community, you realize that they still grapple with significant land use challenges, where their ancestral lands often harbor valuable resources, such as oil reserves. And also, there's a study that shows that we have the largest water reservoir, like aquifers in the northern region, that the Turkana land. And however, when you look at the benefits that these resources give to these communities, it's non-existent. These are the communities that you find each and every year people are talking about them dying of hunger, dying of floods, and so rich region in terms of natural resources, and meaning that they are not able to access this. And this order definitely affects their quality of life. It affects their capacity even to take their children to school. And they face recurring challenges of hunger, as I mentioned previously. And it perpetuates a cycle of deprivation and disenfranchisement to these communities. So addressing these issues, it requires not only recognizing their land rights, but also ensuring that benefits of the resources extracted are equitably shared with the affected communities. This will also help in terms of breaking the cycle of poverty, improving access to education and other essential services for their children. The other challenge is about climate change. If you realize, and of course, if you follow your news, you realize that most of the time, the climate change affects the indigenous communities most. If the Turkana, for example, people are not dying of hunger, of drought, they are also dying of floods. So you realize that these people are hit by challenges from all the corners, and the climate change tends to affect them unevenly, and it threatens their community, jeopardizing their food systems and traditional practices. And also it disrupts their traditional food sources, also leading to habitat loss, extreme weather, and limited access to resources, which affect their well-being and cultural identity. So acknowledging their rights is critical to resilient adaptation, and ensuring that they are able to receive maximum genuine help from the relevant authorities and other multinationals. So what are the opportunities can we get in these indigenous communities? Investing in indigenous-led food initiatives can create opportunities for sustainable food production, economic development, and also cross-cultural collaboration. The other opportunity that I can talk about is about urban farming, which provides indigenous communities with the means to preserve their cultural heritage, exercise food sovereignty, and generate economic opportunities in urban environments. Remember, I said that food sovereignty is very important, especially for these indigenous communities. So if they're able to do what they love doing in urban environment, then of course, they will be able to strengthen the community bonds, improve food access, foster environmental stewardship, and promote sustainability. Additionally, urban initiatives can facilitate cultural exchange, skill development, and enhance resilience, ensuring that indigenous communities thrive while also adapting to the urban challenges. Now, if you look at the report from the International Development Center, Africa's population is projected to double by 2050. And with over 80% of this growth is expected to take place in the urban centers. What does this mean? This means that this demographic shift will result in a significant surge in the demand for food within urban areas. To address this pressing issue of food insecurity in the African city, the adoption of urban farming becomes an imperative necessity. If you can look in my screen, this is what urban farming would look like. This is one of the projects that is being mentored under our mini projects program, the IKEA mini projects program. This program connects global mentors to grassroots social impact leaders who are passionate about creating solutions to community challenges. So Amenu Asefa is one of the mentees that we are currently having on our platform. And what he's doing is he's doing some community gardens. You can see from the pictures here that Menu also solves the issue of plastic waste because you can see that he's recycling plastic to use them for creating the community gardens and grow food in these water bottles. And this also reduces the plastic waste in his region, and once also ensures that these communities have enough food to be able to eat, to consume. So also, Amenu uses his community gardens to also train other community members and also pass down the knowledge down to his children. You can see the children on the pictures who are part of the project and growing the food, and they grow up understanding this. So these are some of the initiatives that I feel that are really important, especially in encouraging these indigenous communities in terms of producing their own food and self-sustainability. So I have a few examples of indigenous food production systems. So we have an example of traditional fishing practices. Most of them, like communities, in our region in Kisumu, you find that the indigenous have a lot of knowledge in terms of fish production, but because of the resources they lack, the ability to be able to produce this, and now this leads to overfishing, for example in Lake Victoria, where they decide to probably go and fish food for either livelihood or selling to other people. So we have our fish project as IKEA Sustainably. We have an IKEA Smart Fish Pond technology. So this is a backyard fish technology that is focused on providing the community with enhanced omega-3, and which is also fit for lactating mothers and children under 5. So this kind of a project is supported into a more modernized project, like maybe the use of aquaponics, like what the previous speaker spoke about, and also things like using the RAS system, where we use water recirculation and avoid using excessive water. Like you can see on the pictures, the ponds have quite a lot of water in them, but with the RAS system, the water recirculates itself, so it also saves a lot of water. So if you see such kind of community projects that can be supported, it means that the communities will be able to deal with the food insecurity. We visited one of the remote areas in these villages, and we put across a question to them and asked them, how many times do you eat fish, have fish as a meal, yet you come from this community? And a number of them raised their hands and said they had not taken fish for almost like about 3 to 5 months. So you can see this means that if we are able to empower these communities with a backyard, each community is able to produce their own food and also be able to have enough for selling and probably improving their livelihoods, and it can also help in terms of taking their kids to school for education and all that, and other needs for the community. So why do we need to incorporate indigenous youth perspectives into the modern food production? From what you have seen, especially from the pictures, the two examples that I've provided, from one from the Ethiopia and the other one from Kenya, you can see that they have new ideas. They will be able to bring new ideas and approaches to sustainable food production that reflect their understanding of traditional knowledge and respect for the environment. They will also involving indigenous youth in decision making empowers them, helps them build the next generation of leaders in sustainable food systems, and also engaging them in food production will help in terms of preserving and revitalizing the cultural practices and traditions. So investing in indigenous-led initiatives will give these kinds of benefits. I have categorized them into two. So we have the benefits for the indigenous communities and the benefits for the society at large. So the benefits for the communities include increased food security for these communities, and of course, it will also contribute to the global food stability. And they also enhance cultural preservation, economic development, and the benefits for the society at large is that the sustainable and regenerative food production, it will lead to sustainable and regenerative food production, also will lead to cross-cultural exchange and collaborations, also preservation of biodiversity and the ecosystems. So in concluding my message and a call to action, it is important to join hands with us and in terms of supporting and elevating the indigenous voices in the global conversation on food systems. We realize that indigenous youth are key players in building a more sustainable and equitable food systems. So investing in these indigenous-led initiatives is not only the right thing to do, but also create benefits for the society at large. So thank you so much. I'll take the mic back to the moderator, and I hope you enjoy. I'm here in case you have any question.
Thank you, Ms. Caroline Narangi, for your beautiful presentation. Now I am introducing my student, Ms. Mohana Chakraborty, who will introduce our next speaker, Mr. Alexander Viru. Mohana, please.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Alexander Viru. Starting at the most specific voluntary of Galati with Spamper Muses, Alexander Viru has been actively involved in various voluntary activities. He holds an MSc in International Business Management and Interpretation from Kingston University, United Kingdom, and has a foundation in climatology and sociology, which allows him to provide insights into digital landscapes and human behavior. Alexander Viru is a founding member of the first Futural Society in UK, the Kingston University Future Society, KUFS. As a part of Passport to Employability International, he has developed projects spanning entrepreneurship, digital speaking, esports, financial inclusion for the deaf segment, online security, and interactive focused on the environment and climate change. He also focused on addressing digital vulnerability and advocate for the League of Fitness initiative emphasize the importance of holistic well-being in the digital age. Aggregated by ECDL, processes digital skills that contributes to the efforts for online safety and inclusivity. As a personal trainer, he viewed sports as a meaning of support physical and mental health. His work enterprise reflects his commitment to diverse and endeavors in a interconnected world. Today, his topic is healthy diet and healthy planet for all. I'm requesting Mr. Alexander Vendu to
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Can you also see my screen?
Yes, I can see I can see your skin. Thank you. Please start your lecture, please.
Yeah. Let me just put it on full screen, and I will.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am Alexandru Ghearu, and I'm here to present Healthy Diets and Healthy Planet for All. I'm part of Kingston Business School, and below you can see some of the projects I've been involved with as part of Passport to Employability International. Some of them which I am more passionate about, League of Focus for Africa, Green Skills for Youth, Tiny Banks. And now let's get into it. When we talk a lot about nutrition, most people are focused on getting their 5-a-day intake of fruits or vegetables, and that's about it. There is a trend in nutrition of becoming a little bit more educated and understanding what nutrients we are putting into our body, but I feel it is developing rather slow. We can see a number of common mistakes in nutrition, such as avoiding carbs or fats because we believe they make us fat, crash diets, which involve reducing the caloric intake that our daily caloric intake, and eventually it will lead to a yo-yo effect, as not losing any weight, but instead gaining even more weight, focusing only on the results of the scale, and ignoring the calories that come from drinks or sauces.
Hello, I can
Hippocrates
hear
said-
you, but I'm not sure if the rest of the team members are here.
Hippocrates said that let food be Thai medicine and medicine be Thai food. The importance of healthy eating habits is extreme. And I am saying eating habits because I am against the concept of a diet. Diet implies restrictions. Diet implies something temporary when we should be looking at eating as something that we can maintain all around the year and our life. Food is nutrition is the bedrock of our health. It influences not only our physical wellness, but our mental agility, our productivity, our well-being. A balanced diet is not just the route to the desirable physique, but the gateway to longevity, disease resistance, and a vibrant mental health. I am going to go a little bit over the basic macronutrients, which are protein,
Recording in progress.
Dr. Sangmitra, is everything okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I will continue then. The proteins are the main building block of our body. They play a huge role in muscle building and repair, in transport of certain hormones, in immune response as well. They
Please,
can be split.
I can't see your PowerPoint presentation. Please share screen again.
Okay. Can you see my slide?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Protein is mostly split between animal protein and vegetable protein. The main difference being the number of essential amino acids that the protein contains. Animal protein is usually referred to as complete protein because it contains all the essential amino acids that our body cannot produce. However, vegetable protein can contain fibers and antioxidants and usually have a much lower environmental impact as compared to animal protein. One can get all the essential amino acids from both animal protein and vegetable protein. Related to vegetable protein, I recommend soya and quinoa as a replacement for meat because they hold all the essential amino acids. Going further, carbohydrates, they are the main source of energy for the body. They are then broken down into glucose, which is used by cells for fuels. They play a very important role in our body's energy. They are split between simple and complex. Although there is a theory that the simple carbohydrates may be harmful towards our body, if we orientate ourselves to try to get an intake from fruits and vegetables, it is going to be much better. There is also the fats. They are vital in our brain structure. They help to form cell membranes, insulate neurons, and facilitate the signals of electrical impulse throughout the brain. You are going to find a lot of fats in fish. They can be saturated, unsaturated, and trans fats. Now, the ones that we should avoid are the trans fats, as they are the worst. However, it is normal that we are going to have a little intake of those. It is recommended that we do not exceed 10% of our daily calories from fat. I did not mention this, but protein and carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram, while fats have 9. This is not a reason to avoid fats, as they are incredibly important for brain health. There are also minor minerals, vitamins, and waters, which are essential for the proper functioning of our body. Most of them we are able to get through a proper alimentation, but it needs to be varied. If we tend to focus on the same food all over and over again, we are at risk of not getting all the essential minerals and vitamins that our body needs for proper functioning. So, talking about the environmental impact of food, water always emerges as a critical element. Agriculture gathers vast quantities of water, thus escalating environmental pressures, particularly in regions that are already struggling with water. The equation, however, does not end at consumption. The nutrients used in agriculture are also flowing into the water, thus harming it. There is also climate change and greenhouse effects. Agriculture accounts to 1/4 of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. Delving deeper, we find that food production alone shoulders over 1/4 of 26% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. The meat and dairy sector, especially when rooted in industrial farming practices, significantly amplifies this carbon footprint. Methane gas from livestock, particularly from meat waste, is a significant contributor. The narrative remains consistent as we further explore the environmental repercussions of water consumption and pollution in agriculture. Half of the world's habitable land is utilized for agriculture, and large parts of the world that were once covered by forests and wildlands are now used for agriculture, leading to a loss of natural habitat and a decline in biodiversity. A very interesting fact is that 94% of non-human mammal biomass is livestock, meaning that livestock outweighs the wild mammals by a factor of 15 to 1. Eutrophication is also another issue, and this is related by the nutrients that are going into the waters. They lead to the uncontrollable growth of algae or other aquatic plants and even jellyfishes. This is something that we can leverage in our interest because both algae and jellyfish are consumable. They are consumable. Algae especially has a lot of protein and is extremely good for our bodies. Jellyfish is considered a delicacy in some Asian countries as well. The food environment connection. Everything that we consume has a certain impact on the planet. From the droplets of water nurturing the crops to the emissions trailing the trucks that bring food to our tables, the narrative unfolds with each choice we make. Our food systems, the arteries supplying nourishment across the globe, are accountable for over 1/3 of the global greenhouse gas emissions as per UN 2021. Our dietary choices can either exacerbate or alleviate these environmental pressures. The local choices that we make may even lead to global consequences, because if I am ordering an avocado back home in Romania, that avocado is not growing in my country. It is going to come from a certain place. There is going to be transportation. So my demands for certain food in one country can lead to harmful effects in another one. The confluence of health and environment in our food choices presents a silver lining. Foods that nurture our bodies, like fruits, vegetables, grains, often tread lightly on earth. In contrast, foods that often derail our health, like processed items and sugary beverages, they bear a heavier environmental burden. The closer we consume and the more local we consume, the better it is for us. The greenhouse gas emissions throughout the supply chain. Research from 2015 unveils that fishing, aquaculture, and agriculture were the predominant actors that contributed to the greenhouse gas emissions, up to roughly 39%. The role of land, its use and alterations come next in line, constituting around 32% of the greenhouse gas emission, and the last 29% was attributed to the distribution, processing, consumption, and the disposal of the waste. Here you can see that waste is happening at all phases of the supply chain. In the food production, where they require resources such as water, soil, energy. In harvest and processing, there are losses that happen due to damage or overproduction. In distribution and retail, overstocking, expiration, or damage to the product. And in consumption, we tend to overpurchase or improperly store our food, not eat in time. When the food is being disposed of, it produces methane gas, the greenhouse gas emissions. If we could implement a process of recovery in this waste cycle and compost or convert to biogas or return the nutrients to soil and thus generate energy, we would be making something positive of the waste. We can also try to recycle, donate. Now, in reducing food waste. About 1.3 billion tons of food are wasted worldwide annually, as discovered by the World Counts. Some of the ecological repercussions are resource drains, forest loss, and the methane release. The greenhouse gas is over 25 times more potent in trapping heat in the atmosphere compared to the carbon dioxide. Annually, food wastage leads to a loss of billions, thus inflating food prices and impacting customers as well. Despite the massive food wastage that we have, which is over 1/3, nearly 9% of the world's population faces malnutrition. Meal planning, effective storage, and decoding expiry dates, as well as charity and composting, may help us mitigate food waste. Expiry dates usually are just a term for when the provider does not guarantee anymore for your food. It is not an indicator of the exact moment where the food goes bad. From a report by FAO, we can see how did the average cost of a healthy diet globally increase from 2019 to 2021? There was a rough increase of 6.7 percentage for the cost of a healthy diet. We can see that the changes are much more pronounced in Africa and Asia, as well as Latin America and the Caribbean, as opposed to Northern America or Europe. In Asia, for example, 62% of the people are unable to afford a healthy diet. Talking about sustainable eating habits. Eat thoughtfully. Dive deeper into where your food comes from. Prioritize local and in-season selections to cut down on emissions that are coming from transport. Limiting meat consumption will have a huge impact on limiting the greenhouse gas emissions that are coming from methane. The environmental toll of livestock farming spans from high greenhouse gas emissions to deforestation and excessive, extensive water use. Embracing organic and regenerative farming, as well as more innovative practices such as vertical farming, is also going to bolster the ecosystem robustness. Fishing is also an issue as long as it is not done responsibly. We should be more responsible in our consuming patterns. We hold the power to shape a sustainable food future with every bite we take. By eating thoughtfully, we not only nourish our bodies, but also protect our planet. We need to cut back on processed food, prioritize eco-friendly packaging, buying in bulk, using your own containers, and also try to cultivate our own greens. We do not know how far the vegetables we buy from the shop have traveled. A vegetable that is growing into your own garden is going to reduce drastically the impact as well as be more healthy. I would like to also discuss a little bit about healthy food habits. I have selected two types of diets. One of them is the plant-based diet, which seems to have extremely good impacts on the humans that are consuming it. It is based on eating mostly whole foods, limiting and avoiding animal products. It is rich in nutrients, high in fibers, which is extremely important for gut health, vitamins and minerals. Most crucial, it has a low environmental impact. Here are some health benefits. There is a reduced risk of chronic diseases, for example, heart disease, diabetes, certain cancers. It helps you with weight management and digestion, as well as it lowers blood pressure and cholesterol levels. One of the diets recommended by FAO is the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet is very similar to the plant-based diet. It emphasizes vegetables, fruits, nuts, legumes, seeds, fish, olive oil, moderate dairy, and low red meat. The health benefits are: it protects you against coronary heart disease, it reduces the risk of mortality, cardiovascular diseases, and cancers. It reduces the water footprint, the greenhouse gas emissions, the land use, and energy consumption as well. And it promotes sustainable agriculture and reduces the strain on marine ecosystems. It is very interesting because the Mediterranean diet was recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage. It is more than just a diet. It is a holistic lifestyle from landscape to table. Some of the initiatives and solutions recommended for taking better care of our planet would be incorporating aeroponics and hydroponics into our production. There are soilless growth methods that are taking water from vapors, or vertical farming, which Andre has previously talked about, or even using some of the harmful effects that are happening at the moment because of our actions. For example, using the jellyfish hordes, which are blocking the sea in order to help ease global hunger. The global challenge is not just about producing more food, but producing it sustainably and equitably in order to decrease world hunger. what Passport to Employability International, my organization, has done in order to bridge the gap between the current state of the world and those SDGs. We are working on projects such as Green Skills for Youth. We are aiming to empower young individuals with the required knowledge to make a change and help towards greening the economy. We have the solar cooking boxes for Africa, which aims to alleviate energy poverty and mitigate environmental degradation in Africa, where a lot of wood fossil is used for cooking, thus having harmful effects both on the health and on the planet. And yes, that's me.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank-
Mr. Alexandru Viru, for your beautiful lecture. It is really beautiful, and we learned a lot from your presentation that you are doing a lot for the betterment of the society.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sanitra. It's been a pleasure.
Dr. Shangamitra Ardu is an associate professor in geography, Kalyani Mahavidyalaya, Kalyani, West Bengal, India. She has a background in geography at postgraduate and doctorate levels from the Calcutta University. With vast experience in environmental geography, cartography, climate change, and sustainability development. She is a recipient of 4 national scholarships secondary to master level in University Grants Commission Fellowship and the prestigious Shikharatna Award 2020-21 for the lifetime achievement in the field of education. Her job as a member of Global Ambassador and Sustainability leads to the circulation of awareness about sustainable development in India. She is the chairman of Earth Digital Book, a non-profit organization that promotes free education and services to society. She has more than 20 years of teaching experience in school and colleges in India. Today, her topic is education for a benefit food future in India. Thank you, ma'am, please.
Good evening, everyone. I am going to talk about education for a better food future in India. The Indian agricultural sector has been a great success story over the past 60 years.
Recording in progress.
Can you see the slides? In production, India ranks second in paddy, wheat, fruit, vegetables, and first in pulses in the world. India has one of the world's largest agricultural research system like National Agricultural Research System, including ICAR institutes and state agricultural universities. After years of import dependency punctuated by severe droughts in the mid-1960s, a series of policy initiatives and technology shifts boosted agricultural production and made India self-sufficient in areas such as wheat, rice, millet, and animal proteins. The Green Revolution demonstrated that Indian farms can achieve productivity increases with the right policies, technology, and investment. India's food security depends on producing cereal crops as well as increasing its production of fruits, vegetables, and milk to meet the demands of a growing population with rising incomes. A productive, competitive, diversified and sustainable agricultural sector we need to emerge at an accelerated pace. Indian agriculture can help the nation to tackle three of its biggest challenges: feeding a huge number of population, expanding demand, ensuring sufficient energy supplies, and curbing emissions. Still, meeting these goals will require a coordinated effort with alignment across policy, investment, and agricultural research. Despite India's economic progress over the past 2 decades, regional inequality, food insecurity, and malnutrition problems persist.
Recording in progress.
The agricultural share in India's economy has progressively declined to less than 15% due to the high growth rates of the industrial and service sector. There will be pressure on agriculture to meet our future targets. So innovation will be important. Participating in biofuel will provide farmers with an opportunity to improve the efficiency. It will also create competition between food and fuel products for valuable crops. Indian agriculture needs to mix the policy, technology, and investment to meet the interlinked goals. Meet the interlinked goals of food security, energy security, and decarbonization in the 21st century. The objective of this study is sustainable and healthy food system, which is national research program using novel techniques to generate and synthesize evidence and to help decision makers to create policies that deliver nutritious and healthy diets in an environmentally sustainable and socially equitable manner. That if the youth undertake a mixture of informal sector employment, self-employment, and agriculture related activities to sustain their livelihoods, agricultural improvement of the nation will happen. Agricultural production in central and rural youth livelihoods, but agricultural incomes are low. Both formal and informal wage employment is rare and sporadic. Entrepreneurship remains an important economic activity. The research found that mixed livelihoods allow for risk mitigation and help to maximize young people's economic opportunities within vulnerable geographical areas. Mixed livelihoods are therefore a logical choice and may be the most economically viable of action for many disadvantageous rural young people in India. Greenhouse gas emission. According to National Greenhouse Gas Inventory, the agricultural sector in India emits 408 million metric ton of carbon dioxide equivalent. Rice cultivation is the third high source, 17 of greenhouse gas emission in Indian agriculture after fermentation and fertilizer use. Agriculture emits greenhouse gases, but agricultural activities can capture greenhouse gases. Changing climate can impact on-farm management decisions, policy conversations, and development will include agriculture. The opportunities from the new techniques can reduce input cost, carbon payments, energy credits, market access, and waste management practices. India has 18% of the world's population having 4% of world's fresh water, out of which 80% is used in agriculture. India receives an average of 4,000 billion cubic meters of precipitation every year. Fresh surface and groundwaters are used for irrigation when there is insufficient rainfall. During the dry Rabi season, rainfall used and which is abundant during the monsoon or kharif season. Because the monsoon rains are becoming less reliable, irrigation is used for food production. This is a potential problem of some areas where water reserves are finite and already scarce in certain areas. Rice-based diets require the most water to be produced, but this comes from both surface and underground water. Wheat-based diets are more dependent on underground water and therefore reliant on depleting resources. Geographical information system in agriculture can be used to improve crop yields, reduce crops, and protect the environment. The geographical information system with other partner technologies like remote sensing, global positioning system, artificial intelligence, all can be used to improve our agricultural production. GIS in agriculture is mostly used to analyze the land, visualize field data on a map, and then utilize the data. Biennial Transparency Report or BTRs from 2024 onwards, building the Biennial Update Reports or BUR is prepared in India to enhance the transparency and accountability of the countries in meeting their climate change prediction and pledges under Paris Agreement. Developing a transparent and comprehensive inventory for the agriculture, forestry and other land use sector, it is crucial for India to meet its reporting requirements under BTRs. Accurately project emissions through modeling exercises, identify areas where emissions reductions are possible, track progress towards climate goals, facilitate international cooperation and design effective policies to address emissions reduction from the FOLU sector. India's adoption of innovative agriculture tech and new crop varieties through gene editing will create a consistent feedstock supply to meet biofuel targets, leading to energy security, higher farmer incomes, and ultimately decarbonization. Biomass to fuel capacity building will surpass domestic demand and make India an exporter of low carbon biofuel once the full potential is realized. The government of India and the state government have implemented new techniques to improve the quantity of production along with the stable good quality of agro-based products. Funds are provided to the farmers so that the modern tools and techniques, modern machineries can be used to increase the yield, make farming easy for the farmers who struggle day and night at the field to serve the nation. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Saifu Aminu. Saifu Aminu is a youth entrepreneur of Agrifood business who is voluntarily engaged in creating awareness, sanitization, mobilization, and empowering youth in taking a positive action for global climate justice as well as tree planting for environmental conservation. Towards building an eco-friendly environment for sustainable development. He is interested in teaching and training others and very passionately in environmental conservation. For agricultural aspect, he trains youth in poultry farming and assists crop farmers through extension services and innovative ideas for better yield as well. He used social media to encourage the public on the importance of environmental conservation, taking action against climate change and youths to encourage in agriculture and environmental conservation. Today, his topic is modernization and communalization of agri-food systems. Sir, please.
All right, thank you, the presenter. I'm very grateful for giving me this opportunity to discuss on this very important topic concerning modernization and commercialization of agri-food. The host, please permit me to share my slides. Hello?
Yes.
Are you hearing me?
Yes. Can you share
Okay, I
your
said
slides or?
all right. All right. Hold on.
Yes, I can share your slide.
Okay, please share it to me. I'm unable to share it.
Can you see the slides?
No. Yes, I can see it now. All right, thank you. I am by name Shafiu Aminu, as mentioned by the presenter. I'm going to present on a topic on the importance of modernization and commercial. I can no longer see the slides.
Can you see the slides?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't share the slides. When I'm trying to share your slides, the connection is hampered.
We can hear you, but we cannot see the slides. Do you have the slides
Yes.
on your computer? Could you perhaps
Safi,
share the
please
screen
share
with
your
us?
slides from your side.
Let me share it. Okay.
Yes, I can see it.
We can see the slides. I can see them.
Okay. Okay. As I said, I'm going to talk on the importance of modernization and commercialization of agri-food system. Actually, the content are introduction, word, population, concept of agriculture, concept of modernization, and the concept of commercialization, concept of agri-food system, and modern method of farming. Then the importance of modernization and commercialization of agri-food system. Introduction. As a result of the fast growing population and pressure to agricultural product, food supply is now inadequate, which results to malnutrition. According to FAO, currently more than 1 billion people are estimated to lack sufficient food, and more than twice that number do not receive adequate nutrition. Food supply is affected by many factors, which include lack of adequate land for farming, etc. The reason why there is a lack of adequate land for farming is as a result of the increase of the population, which leads to the decrease in the land used for agriculture. Because the land that are used and the first 10 years or more than that, or the land that are used for production are now converted to housing and other infrastructure due to the increase in the population. The only solution to adopt agriculture, the only solution to this problem is to adopt agricultural mechanization, which is our topic of discussion, by the use of improved and resistant variety, mixed cropping, adequate extension services, etc. Definition. What do you understand by definition of agriculture itself? Agriculture is the art and science of of cultivating the soil, growing crops, and raising livestock. It includes the preparation of plant and animal products for people to use and their distribution to market. World population. What is the current world population? The world population is expected to increase by nearly 2 billion person in the next 30 years, from the current 8 billion to 9.7 billion in 2050, which is estimated the world population to reach 9.7 billion in the 2050, and could be peak at the nearly 10.4 billion in the mid 2080s. United Nations. This was sourced from the United Nations. In a brief, this is telling us that there's a rapid increase in the population, and as a result of this rapid increase of population, then the agriculture there's an increase. There must be increase in demand for food, and as what we all know that the land is fixed. We can never increase our land. The land is fixed, but the population is increasing. So how can we do to meet the demand of the rapid increased population? The only way is to adopt farm mechanization and commercializations. Modernization and commercialization. What do you understand by modernization, or what do we mean by modernization? Modernization simply means the process of updating something or marketing it, more making it work in a contemporary setting. That's what we mean by modernization. To improve something or to update it toward or toward improving its better use or productivity. While commercialization is the marketing, that means selling of something in a way intended to make money, to sell something in order to make profit. Agri-food system. Agri-food system encompasses the primary production of food and non-food agricultural product, as well as in food storage, aggregation, post-harvest handling, transportation, processing, distribution, marketing, disposal, and consumption. This is all what comes by agri-food system. All these processes that involves in production, from the production process, in fact, from the farm to the final consumers, they are all under this system, what we call agri-food system, that involves the production of both food and non-food agricultural product, as well as the storage of those products, aggregating them post-harvest and pre-harvest as well, handling of those products, processing them, transporting them, distributing and marketing of all these processes, all involved, all comprise, they are all under this agri-food system. Modern concept of farming. What are the modern concept of farming, and why do we adopt the modern concept of farming? The reason for adopting a modern concept of farming is as a result of the population. If to say it, we are not adopting a modern concept of farming, and with this rapid increase of our population, that means that we are not going to meet the demand, we are not going to meet the demand of food that we have, because we'll be suffering from malnutrition or inadequate food supply. Therefore, in order to meet this demand, there we must adopt a modern farming methods. As I mentioned from the beginning, that the land are fixed. Land is fixed. There's no way which we can increase our land, but we can only adopt a modern method toward improving our productivity, which is adopting of farm mechanization. These are the farming practices. When we talk of modern concept of farming, these are the farming practice which are featured by large manpower. That when we talk of farm mechanization, it it all entails, or it all means the using of manpower, the modern
Recording in
manpower,
progress.
such as machinery, to produce high production or to produce higher higher product than compared to the using of traditional tools. Therefore, when we say the modernizing farming, or the concept of modernizing farming, it simply entails the farming practice which features by large power, capitals, input, extensive use of equipment like winnowing, machines, terasher, and harvester. These are all machineries that are used in this modern modern world, where instead of the olden days, we are using manual method of harvesting, winnowing, threshing, processing. But as a result of advance of science and technology and the adoption of by the adoption of farm mechanization, we are now using machineries that simplifies our work. And within a short period of time, we can process or harvest a large hectares of land within a short period of time, which is as a result of farm mechanization or the development of science and technology. What is the important, or what are the important of this the modernization, or the importance of modernization and commercialization of agri-food system? The importance of modernization and commercialization of agri-food cannot be overemphasized, as you all know. But among which are crops and animal improvement, is as a result of the modernization and the commercialization of agri-food that we have been able to get an innovation on how to improve our crops and animals through farm mechanization, extension service, and other research conducted toward in ensuring that our crops and animals are improved toward meeting the demand of our population. Then handling and processing of farm product. Then, it is as a result of modernization and commercialization of agri-food that we come across the modern method through mechanization of handling and processing our farm product within a short period of time. Within a short period of time, because when we talk of the in the olden days, all these modern techniques are not available. Therefore, our farmers have to adopt a manual method of processing and processing and handling their product or farm produce. But as a result of the recent, as a result of the modernization and commercialization, now we have been able to use farm machineries in order to handle and process our farm produce within a short period of time. Then the storage also, we have been able to have modern storage facilities that we can be able to store our food for long without spoilage or damage by insects or other uh, insect or other insect or being stealed by thieves or other things. But in the olden days, the storage facilities are not good enough to store a bulk harvest. But as a result of the modernization now, we can store a bulk harvest for a long period of time without being spoiled or damaged by insect or rodent. Then the efficiency. And as a result of modernization and commercialization of agri-food now, system, now at this present time, we have efficiency compared to the olden days. In the olden days, a farmer can spend a whole day in the farm conducting a farm activities, but if you compare to the work he did in the farm, it's very meaningful. But now, as a result of this modernization, then within an hour or within a short minute, then the efficiency of the work a farmer can do using this farm mechanization is greater compared to what the efficiency being received in the olden days. Therefore, with just a machine, without you wasting most of your energy, you can produce or you can work that you can. Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay, I said as a result of this modernization, with a little effort, a farmer can make a great work using machineries in the farm. Then the sufficiency also, it also brings us efficiency. The modernization and commercialization of agri-food system also bring us a sufficiency because it is because of the adoption of farm mechanization. That's why we have been able to meet the present food we have been able because if not because of this farm mechanization, the, we will not be able to meet the demand of our population in terms of food supply. But though up to now we are yet to meet the demand, but we are still going positively and we are moving ahead because of the using of mechanization and improved machineries as well as improving crops and animals. Then the employment generation, then the modernization and commercialization also bring us employment generation because the commercialization itself is a income generation. Farmer can produce more than what he can consume. Then the remaining after 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 taking the fat that it can consume, the remaining fat he will sell and make money. Therefore, this modernization, commercialization of agri-food provide or generate employment for our youth or for our farmers as well. Then we have revenue generation. This modernization also and commercialization also provide revenue generation to the country as a result of importation and exportation of farm produce. Then economic growth. Then there's also an economic growth due to the modernization and commercialization of agri-food as a result of adoption of farm mechanization because the economy some of the developed countries that were engaged or give more priority in agriculture, they are developing, their economies is growing in a greater way as a result of the exportation of their farm produce. In a conclusion and in summary, we've said that the importance of modernization and commercialization of agri-food cannot be overemphasized. And if not because of adopting this modernization and commercialization of agri-food, the present population will not be able to meet the demand in terms of agri-food supply. But as a result of this modernization and commercialization of agri-food, we are moving toward meeting the demand of different populations in terms of food supply. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Safiu Aminu, for your beautiful presentation. The number of applications and applications of geographical information system have grown significantly in recent years as a result of advancement in digital technologies, which have been including GIS as an essential partner technology for evaluating crops, soils, and their environment. At every point along the agricultural value chain, GIS is used. The development of digital agricultural tools and technologies has increasingly taken advantage of the capabilities of GIS in the new and emerging applications in high quality crop monitoring, yield prediction, precision farming and supply chain management, both primary production and biomass utilization towards energy production in each and every country of the world. New existing and emerging technologies can address the 4 dimensions of food security like genetic modification, methods of improving soil fertility, and irrigation technologies which can increase food availability. Now, I am concluding the session, and it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization World Food Forum 2023 flagship event, honorable members of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, respected speakers, and our valued participants. Myself, Dr. Sanghamitra Adho, on behalf of Earth Digital Book India, extends a very hearty thanks to all of you for your presentation, sharing with us your findings and opinions today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are very grateful.
Thank you for the opportunity.